Karibu AMG Realtors. We have specialized in selling of land across the country in areas like Nanyuki, Naivasha, Nakuru, Juja, Kagunda Road, Malindi, and the Abadeas. Contact us today for land investment solutions and have your title deed delivered within 60 days upon completion of payment. SMS AMG to 40299 or call us on +254 748 229 941. AMG Realtors. We don't just deal in land, we deal in value.
Thank you so much, Cody, for being here with us today. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me here, and I'm excited to chat today and share some of my knowledge.
Definitely. I feel like this was something that has been made to happen because usually on podcasts, people hear a lot about entrepreneurship, about passion, business driving, and yeah, everybody has a business these days. It's not new. But I feel like what you're about to tell us was going to really rewire our frameworks and give us something to think about rather than just doing things that we're used to doing,
Yeah, I'm 100% about making everything as simple as it can be, streamlined as possible, and has little touch points and friction. Because if you can develop a company that needs very limited staffing to produce income, where everything is SOP'd out and understood and automated, you suddenly have something that can last a much longer time with much less work and make more money.
That's true. That's so true. Before we even get fully into it, it would be great for people to know who you are and what you do, so that at least they can have some really good backstory and insight on what Cody's up to right now.
Yeah, definitely. So right now, real quick, I have an amazing company called Scientific Supplements that basically sells supplements, of course, to the end consumer. But how I got there, I think, is kind of the bigger thing, because I want people really to understand all the mistakes I made, because I probably made $1 million of mistakes, and I want to make sure that people don't go through that. That's one reason why I'm jumping on podcasts and sharing this knowledge, because I think it's just so valuable, and it's so easy to make mistakes when you get going that I don't want people to do that. So I started out, I was a sales rep. I worked for a place called US Foods. Cool job, liked it. I called it the golden handcuffs because I made $140,000 a year at most. It was exciting. But they beat you to the ground. They worked you really hard. I have no clue how competitive the industry is now. It's probably 10 times worse, but that's where I was. So I have always had a sales personality and background, and I like that. During that time, I started on the side a gym, and I actually ran the gym in the evenings, in the early mornings, and I taught people how to use kettlebells in San Diego, and that's where I kind of developed my entrepreneurialness. That's where I wanted to actually, do my own business. I could never figure out how to make stupid amounts of money, and especially if I didn't have to work it. So I'd bring staff in, I'd teach them how to do things, and at the end of the month, I'm like, I made $500, and I was here every day for 4 hours a day. That's lame. And so the whole goal with that business was really trying to develop something where I could just own it, not to operate it. But unfortunately, that city and that type of business is just not as easy to accomplish that, especially San Diego. There was 5 gyms in the complex I was at, so it was not fun. Wow. But during a trip with my brother, who had figured out how to teach people online how to work out, we were talking about how to do stuff and what to do, and I was tired of training people. He's like, you should do supplements. And so after about 2 years of research study, I basically figured out the idea of using direct marketing and affiliate management to be able to create these kind of long form stories that tells the story of the customer, the story of the avatar's journey, the character that you're speaking about, the spokesperson for the company, the company's background, the product's many benefits and solutions. And then from there, I've learned how to reach out to these groups of people called affiliates, who are also offer owners that have email lists that were looking to promote third-party offers. And since then, I've sold over $50 million in products. I have a list of probably 400 affiliates, and we are able to generate tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a day in sales. And it's an incredibly exciting business that I now am an actual CEO, and I don't actually run the day-to-day stuff. I get to hang out and be on podcasts like this.
Wow. First of all, congratulations on that's a huge milestone. Starting your story from that to where you are now and where you're going to, it's limitless at this point, because a lot of people want to be at that point where they can actually get their hands off their business. But some people are scared to do that because they're not sure if their business will still run as smoothly as it would if they were running it on their own. So how does someone detach from that without having to worry about those nitty-gritties?
Definitely. So at first, you have to worry about it, right? Because you're the only one who can do it. You don't have the cash flow, you don't have the capital to be able to hire 3 or 4 people. So the key is to strategically plan the business ahead of time. So when you're ready to hire, you know who you need to hire. So I literally had this question. What someone had asked me, who I was helping out like a week and a half ago. What would I have done differently, right? Or would I, if I started again tomorrow, like kind of what would I do? So number one, if I started again tomorrow and I was trying to be, shoestring as possible, I'd of course use everything that exists. So in the direct marketing world, there's CRMs you should be using, ClickBank, Buy Goods. These things are ways to do credit card processing and to manage all the affiliates and do all the tracking and all the information. It's all built in the system and it's free. It comes with using their software because they take a percentage of sales. They're like the credit card processor, but they just take an extra few points. Mm-hmm. It's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. Trust me, when you start doing scale, their numbers pretty much match what you can do in your own processing, but they're awesome to use. So using those systems as opposed to using Stripe or using Shopify or using UltraCart or the other things that require a lot more setup and more cost in the short term. Secondly, I would then use easy web page builders, ClickFunnels, WordPress, things like that, just to start out. And the whole idea is because you're doing it yourself, you want to be able to do something that's simple enough for you to do. ClickFunnels, although I do not love the software, it is incredibly easy to use, and you can find people anywhere in the world who can do design and page builds for next to nothing. You can have full funnels built out for $500. Will they be the best? No. Will it be the fastest to load the page? No. But it's an incredibly easy way to get started. Once I got a business running and it was generating revenue, number one, I would not pay myself first. It's a book like Leaders Eat Last. You don't pay yourself until you can. The first thing I would do would be to hire basically an operations person. This person would be able to help me manage the projects, manage the business, start figuring out how to get the pages from ClickFunnels to HTML so it actually works, start deciding how to communicate with people better and understanding that. After that, when I started making enough money to afford staff, I would definitely hire an accountant or CFO because all of us think we know how to manage money. We do not. If you make $1 million, you will spend $1,050,000 because we just are not good as humans in managing our money. But accountants and CFOs, they're really good. So having someone who can help you control that money is key. And then after that, I would hire a sales manager or an affiliate manager in our space to be able to help do that. And the whole idea is really that you have to build a team. You have to build people you trust, and you kind of have to learn to let go. And so that's the kind of process. Let go of operations, let go of finance, then let go of sales. And at that point, you become the visionary and can actually run the company and be the CEO you want.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for breaking that down, because that is the biggest part of what people are focused on a daily basis, but they're not sure what's going to work. How do I move the needle? How do I make this tick? If this doesn't work today, how can I make it work tomorrow? So you've literally broken it down for someone who is really passionate about their business and they really want to make that next move. Now, as you mentioned, something came to mind where if somebody is in this kind of setup and in this type of business, are they thinking about the results? Because you know, like you said, leaders eat last. So if you're doing that and you're creating that funnel for that business and you're creating that experience for that customer, how do you make sure that by the time you're eating, you're not eating the crumbs, you're not eating the last bit of the pie, you really are eating, let's say, a profit that was made that can, even if you take something out, it still keeps the business going. So how does someone get to that point where they can marginalize those profits and those efforts?
Yes, 100%. So basically, this leads back to kind of the first step. The first thing you should do is you should have an org chart, right? You can go to pingboard.com. It'll ask you for credit card information. Ignore it. Just ask for the free account. It's free forever. But you can build an org chart. And an org chart starts with the CEO on top with a COO beneath them. And then from there, it breaks out into all the different departments. So you have to look at your business and decide what is in my department. I have sales, I have operations, I have marketing, I have customer service, and then within each department, all those staff that you potentially want to have. So first off, it's mapping out that kind of ideal situation. Day one, your name is in every single seat, right? This helps you kind of pick and choose how you're going to help hire down the ladder and who's responsible for what. So now that you have an idea of your ideal organization and you have an idea of all the positions, you now have the ability to then set the goals of the company. So this is the why we're doing it, the what is our goals. I meet a lot of people who are like, I just want to sell more. Selling more is great, but without profit, what's the point? So your ideal goal should be, we want to have a profit of $200,000 in year one. And then how do you reverse engineer that, right? So if you start doing sales after prepping for 90 days, that gives you 9 months to generate that revenue. So 200,000 divided by 9, that's the kind of profit you want to have, or creating some kind of chart that shows growth over that time period. So then you now have a goal of profit. Now, when you know your profit, how do you achieve that profit, right? So if you know that an average order is $200 and you have $40 of profit, boom, you now know how many customers you need that month to achieve that profit goal. And then if you know you need 100 clicks for every one customer, you now know how many clicks you need. And if you know that each traffic source gives you 1,000 clicks, you know how many traffic sources you need. So it's really breaking it down top to bottom, same as you would. There's a CEO on top and all the people beneath. There's a goal of $200,000 of profit, and then there's it breaks down to every single step beneath that. So at our company right now, we actually have targeted goals for every single traffic source, meaning affiliate or Facebook or Google or whatever it is, on every single funnel we have, which is our funnels are, like turmeric, here's the sales page, and then we'll have like 3 upsells. Hey, buy omega-3 too, buy probiotic 2. Those kinds of things. We'll have that for every single funnel, for every single traffic source for each month. And that way we can really dial in and go, where are we bleeding? Where are we exceeding our goals? And how do we get every single metric we have up?
That's really great. Thank you for really bringing that, because now it got me thinking, are you focusing more on paid than organic, or organic more than paid, or there's a balance between those two?
So we are not about paid as much. So the world of affiliate marketing, I think, is the coolest world ever. So when you build an offer in direct marketing on ClickBank or BuyGoods, you're looking to try and get a page that converts at a certain metric and generates a certain amount of profit. And then if it makes enough profit, you're typically sharing 50 to 70% of the revenue, which is basically all the profit, with the traffic source. And from there, you're able to meet people, and they promote you because they're looking for offers. So, for example, I have multiple brands. Each brand has 1 or 2 email lists. Each email list emails once or twice a day. They email to blogs, they email great content, and then they email third-party offers, because I don't have 120 or 300 products to sell. A couple dozen. And so you can't just every day be like, buy turmeric, buy turmeric, buy turmeric. People get bored. Right. So you have to show them different stuff. So there's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these affiliates out there in that exact same position I'm in, looking for other offers to send. And the email list becomes very important too. Right now, it's about 60-70% of our profit each and every month, because it starts to become a massive profit center. You're getting customers to rebuy your products that they already purchased once. You're getting them to get on subscription programs, and you're getting them to buy third-party offers. So we love working that affiliate model a lot more, because it's just, it's free traffic. You make friends with people, and then they send you your offer. And if it works well, they send it to you again. If it doesn't work well and you make good friends with them, they'll help you figure out why. That, or you can join one of the many, coaching groups, masterminds, things like that, where people are there helping you understand what metrics you need to have and how to achieve them. And then if you're not achieving them, how to change and update and retest so you can get to that point. I like that a lot, because it reminds me of what my parents told me once. When I started my gym, they were like, oh my gosh, that's so risky in a business. They're very much from the having a job generation, where you stay in a job from, college till death. And they told me, like, oh my gosh, it's so risky. What if people quit your gym? And at that point, I had 150 members. And I said to my Mom, I have 150 people at my gym, and I have 1 boss at my day job. Do you think it's more risky for 150 people to quit on me at once, or 1 guy to not like me and fire me? And so when you think about affiliates are like that. They're like having hundreds of clients that are able to work with you. Facebook and Google is like having a singular job. You run the wrong ad and they don't like you, your account's banned under your name, and you can never run ads again. You then have to have a staff member set it up and spin it up. You got to put the websites on new domains and change content and all this crazy stuff you have to do. So I tread lightly with those traffic sources, and I prefer to work with agencies or contractors who are very experienced in those areas where they won't break things. Whereas affiliates, again, you have hundreds of people you can work with and get them to drive traffic to you.
That's so true. That is really good. Wow. You know, when you mentioned the gym and how you have the members, it's like if one person like cancels their subscription, it doesn't really hurt the bank. It doesn't like break your bank. But if like over 60% do that, that's where the problem lies. So how do you start outsourcing? How do you start retaining? So how do you start doing that in a way that it's not, you're not going backwards. You're not going 10 steps forward and 15 steps back. So it's really about creating that connection between the two. And, you know, one of the things that came out to me too was asking you about like some common mistakes, you know, people have when they're outsourcing or when they're looking for affiliate to work with. Do they have to go through a roster? Do they have to go through an eligibility requirement base? Like, what are those common mistakes that we see that people should be avoiding when they're thinking about outsourcing?
Yeah, so outsourcing's tough. Any agency that says they can do it all for you is a liar. So I typically work with people who are good and specific to what their service is. So, for example, I have a couple companies that we reach out with, and they offer very limited things. So the customer service agency we use, originally they had one thing. It was just, we do all done for you service. It's $17 an hour. That's it. And now they have two packages. They have a beginner package and the package I'm on. So there's no question about what they do. There's no expectation of things they're going to do out the door. I've hired people before that are like, yeah, we can do video and we can do this and we can build web pages and we can do design and we can do copywriting. And they weren't good at any of it. It was all lame. So you find someone who's good at that skill set that's been recommended by many people. They will cost more, but they will do better. For example, my customer service, it has made me, she pulled a report, it's made our company $200,000 in the last year. So between the amount of orders that they saved and gotten people to keep or take a partial refund on instead of a full refund because they wanted to return it, the amount of calls they've taken and just placed an order, and the amount of calls that they've reached out and said, hey, you know, I saw you got one bottle, you interested in a 3-pack for a discount. All that combined together has made the company $200,000. So yes, you may spend more, but you will get more when you have those people. Same thing with, you know, marketing and copywriting. I hire the best. I spend $20,000 when I have a sales page written, because when I've paid 5 and 10, I've gotten things that are so worthless that it's basically goes in the shredder. It's nothing you can do with it. But when you have something that is good, then you can actually work on it and make it amazing. So it's finding those specialists, not a generalist to outsource to.
That's really good. That's really good. I like that. That helps a lot, because a lot of people now start thinking outside the box, and that also gives you an incentive to really think through the mindset of what are you really planning to do with your business, how are you trying to take that to the next level. And that also gives you a good incentive to stay alert, because you know there are different seasons in the year. So somebody may need it more in the winter more than in the summer or in the spring, you know, just depending on exactly what the goal is. So, you know, you mentioned this, and this brought to my attention how you can be able to start creating value for people who are retaining, because you know how they say that repeat buyers are better than new buyers. So if you had no sales experience, would you say, it's not a trick question, but if you had if you didn't have a sales background, would you be as successful as you are right now?
I do think you have to be willing to go out on a limb. So, I mean, I was the kid who sold chocolate bars from baseball, Little League, and won the competition. I was the kid that won the magazine competitions in middle school, right? I have that inert need and want to go talk to people, although it's funny, being locked in my house for a few years now, I'm totally become kind of an introvert, I think, except for Zoom. But you have to have that willingness to go out on a limb and do that. And if not, it's understanding what needs to get done and who to hire for that position. So there's a handful of people that I've worked with that they're definitely not. They're definitely nerdy introverts who build web pages and write. They're not salespeople. And there are ways to get traffic. There are ways to work with affiliates without going out on a limb. And those people, I've encouraged, as soon as they have the profit to do so, to hire a sales manager first. Because that sales manager will be able to go do things that they're completely uncomfortable with doing.
Right.
But in reality, like, no one's there to bite you. Everyone just wants to be your friend. And as long as you're willing to go out and try and make someone's day better and try and give more than you receive, it will all come back. I mean, if you try to give more than you receive, you will get more than you ever gave out, because people are just so shocked and amazed. I literally just start out a new conversation with people of, how can I help you today? And then anything else I can do for you? And if anything you need, just ping me, right? Because people aren't going to bother you that much unless they desperately need to. And if they do desperately need something and you save the day for them, you've got in the back of their head a debt or a thank you that they're going to repay to you one day. So it's always worth it.
That's true. That is so true. And I love that. That's like hospitality in its finest form, because that's a lot of things a lot of people don't even know how to do. Asking questions, how can I help you? It's more like people say, what can you do for me, instead of what can I do for you? Because that act of chivalry actually exchanges and you get much more than you ask for. So even with your business, you don't know that someone's asking for turmeric, but they may be looking for this for their whole family. And just because you were nice to that person, they end up referring you to them. So that customer service is really big. When people hear my pleasure, they know exactly where that's coming from. So it's those kind of things that keep people coming back, because it's not about the money, it's about the service and about the responsibility that you've given that person to take upon what they're getting back as a source of saying, I actually spent my time to drive here, or to put my credit card on file so that I can be able to expand your business. So it's really good that you were able to give us these insights today, because it's going to help a lot of people to open up their minds and see that, yeah, we're in a closed world right now, if you can call it that, but more importantly, the world is open for anybody to, take what they deserve when they actually apply that concept every day.
Yeah, it's being real. People buy from people. Mm-hmm. And by the way, too, when you guys start when anybody out there starting a company, you have two customers. You have the customer who buys your product, and then your secondary customer is those who are promoting you, who are giving you the traffic, or helping you get the product. And you have to be a great person to all of them, and help make sure that they all feel they're part of the family. Because it's not just about the end consumer buying your product, it's about all the people that help make it a reality. And none of us are in a silo. We have tons of contractors or warehouses or manufacturers or affiliate partners who we want to make sure that we are connected with. And the more you are close to them, the more you invite them into your family, the easier it all becomes.
That's true. That is so true. Wow. Cody, this has been immensely helpful. And it's opened up a lot of ears and doors and eyes for people to just tap in a little bit and think back. And I'm sure they're going to make some notes, rewind, because you can't listen to everything and get everything in one sitting. So I'm sure this is going to be a great thing for them, definitely. And I know you probably have something that somebody that's listening can be able to benefit after listening to this, because it's about the implementation, not just listening to it. So is there anything you would have for anyone listening right now that may need to take that next step?
Yeah, 100%. So for those who are interested in the health or supplement space and actually are in the process of creating a company, or like, hey, this is my mission in life. And by the way, this is not for, these industries are not for like, oh, I want to make some quick cash. No, don't. This is for if you want to be owning a supplement company, you want to be owning a health advisory company, a coaching company in terms of those things. I've created an actual mastermind or coaching group that helps people through this. It's awesome for when they're ready, but for people who are not, I have free content they can download and start reading and checking out. So you can visit my website, supplementmillionaire.com. And on there, I have, I think, about a 30-minute video kind of explaining everything we go through and really kind of breaking it down. And then as well, you can download a Gantt chart and a checklist, which kind of walk you through all the things you need to do, prepare, and work on in order to launch your company. And I encourage anybody who wants to learn, check that out. And when you're ready, we'll be there for anybody who wants to take the next steps and work with us. But my whole thing is, like I said before, I've made $1 million in mistakes. I should be $1 million richer, not in revenue, in profit. And no one should have to go through those silly mistakes that I made, because if I had someone who just told me no 2 or 3 times, I probably could be $1 million richer right now. And I want to make sure that people have that opportunity that want to. And won't have to go through the same learning struggles that I did. So you can find me at supplementmillionaire.com or codybramlett.com. That leads back to the same place. And I'm here to help. Like I said, I want to help people that want to help themselves. So reach out. I'm here for you guys.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Cody. We're definitely going to bring you back again in the near future to talk about the successful story. Maybe next year, God willing, and just talk about it and see how, I heard what he said last year. This year is different. So this is just immensely helpful for people to listen to. And thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Anytime.